So, hello everybody. So I'm Stéphanie Hospital. I'm the founder of CEO of One Ragtime. So it's a venture platform. We're investing while building everything to be efficient in the way we back tech companies. And I was previously at Orange, where I had also exposure to innovation and culture. So we are going to have a fantastic panel. First of all, Roberto, how it is to be in minority in a panel with 4 women?
I'm the luckiest guy in South Summit.
And you're in the center.
No doubt.
So he's in the center. So that's it. We should have, yes. I mean, we do like the same with women. When they're alone in a panel, they're always in the center. So anyway, when we think about corporate and innovation, we think about, as for me, I think about 2 names. Steve Jobs, Apple. I mean, he made it. He made this impressive while all the operators were struggling to make it. And Steve Jobs is no more there, but Apple is still innovating. And also about Elon Musk, crazy innovator, who is in one hand asking his employees to be doing everything to shortcut every process, to speak directly to the person, while being super intransigent himself in the way he managed the company. So how do you see those two profiles, Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and do you think that they have made it to be building company that can innovate? So to answer this question, first, I would like all of you to reflect based on your previous jobs and what you're doing today, what it means. So I'm starting with Patricia. So
Yes.
a few words about you and Globant.
Thank you for inviting me here, and thank you, all of you, for taking the time to spend some minutes to debate and think and reinvent what we are doing. I think that when Globant, is a digital native company, we are in more than 21 countries today and having more than 25,000 employees all over the globe. And we were talking how it's operating in different countries and with different cultures, and it is different. And I said, well, it has some difference, but we keep in mind that we have one culture that is really, really important for all of us, and is the entrepreneurial, and we have a DNA of innovation. I mean, all of the company is ruled by that. I mean, as we are a digital native, as I mentioned before, I mean, for us, thinking about agile was something that we have on an everyday basis. So getting there, I mean, all our teams start in Globant being part of a pod and being part of a team, and that team is about how we work on agile methodology. We have been able to flip the org chart, putting on top of the org chart all the top and the C-levels, and on the top we put our Globers. And that is not only a vision, it's also something that happens on an everyday basis. Everyone is thinking about helping that Glober, that's the name we put the people that work in Globant, the Globers, that put the Globers in the center of the organization. And that means that everyone, I mean, from the CFO, the CTOs, the founders of the company also are working still at the companies. That is an amazing thing. So I think everyone is thinking about how we put the Glober in the center and how we keep them in terms of keeping an agile mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, and autonomy, of course.
So it can work when you are Globant and you're operating in 21 countries with multiple employees working for other people. But maybe, Beatrice, in your founder's perspective, I mean, you're starting a new company. I mean, you're still at the beginning of this company. So what do you do to make sure that the way you're going to hire your new team members, you have this DNA?
Absolutely. Well, I'm really excited to be here as well. My name is Beatriz Ayala. I'm the CEO and founder of Musicasa. And as I was reflecting on some of the questions that we were going to discuss today, and really how you unlock innovation through people, it's the element of freedom in combination with human insight. If you think of the most innovative companies in the world, they're really tapping into human behavior and the human spirit to bring something forward that can improve the lives and impact the lives of people. So in Musicasa and with my teammates, we really go to the core of the problem that we're solving, how that human insight is going to inform all of the platforms and features that we're going to be developing, and how innovation is really something that lifts up the spirit of people, regardless of how big it is, like a plane, or how small it is, if it's the right size of the window of a plane so that you can see the world from above, and it's just changing the perspective on how you see the world.
Yeah, it seems that when you have some history in your company, it's easier to maintain this innovation DNA. So I'd love to get the perspective of two corporations. And so maybe we start with Anna, women first. Sorry, Roberto. But Anna, I mean, what it takes being in a large corporation in a sector that is quite, not known to be super innovative, because here for many years, to have this innovation DNA and this culture of innovation.
Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me. It's also a pleasure. And yes, I totally see your point, because listening to them and also in my previous experience, I worked in other more techy companies, and that's natural. That's in the DNA of a startup or tech companies. But now working at Mutua, I see what you say, having or driving change and driving innovation in a more established corporation, it has some challenges. And in the end, I think it goes to having innovation as a core value for the company, framing it in with constant signals, symbols from the very top positions. No? In our case, our president, that it's also a sponsor of this event, and our general manager always is challenging the employees with different rituals, routines to have innovation as a core value to success, because we cannot stop. No, we have to continue to look for new opportunities, and that is set by the example as well. So continuously.
Again, what I hear is example of the founders. I mean, value, culture, mission, and so it works for large corporation. I mean, clearly, your headquarters in Spain, so it's the headquarter. But how it works, Roberto, for when you're the general manager? I have to say that 3M. Who knows 3M? Here. So who is using Post-it? They invented the Post-it. So maybe it's one of the most innovative companies in the world. I mean, it was. 100 years ago, and how it is today, and how do you have this innovation culture still?
And in fact, we need a word after this panel, because you mentioned Tesla, you mentioned Apple, but 3M is also one of the most iconic companies in the world. And the most striking thing is that we are not big. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it's not important the number of employees that you have, which is more than 95,000. The different thing about 3M is that we have more patents than employees, 120 in our history, and over 4,000 every year. And the secret, and this is the question I get in every single panel I'm in, so what is the secret for having achieved this over 120 years? Yeah. Because, this is the year where we were founded. The secret, as we were discussing before, is that the best asset that we all have, all the startups, all the companies here, is the talent, and it's constrained as you grow in the companies. So your ability to really unlock this, your ability to make people thrive, and in a big corporation is the success that we have. Just to give you a number, so we are making roughly 35 billion in the company, and we are renewing 30% of these sales is coming from products that we have launched over the last 4 years. So imagine that after 10 years, you are renewing your entire company. This is the spirit of 3M, and this is what we are proud of.
Yeah, pretty interesting to have this innovation culture for so many years. When we live in the tech and startup ecosystem, we always think, by the way, that innovation is only the DNA of young companies. But looking at that, I always think that what is the secret for innovative company? Is it really being innovative or being master of execution? Because when you look at all the tech companies, at the end of the day, there's one innovation at the beginning, but then they execute like crazy. How would you see that? Maybe we start with, yes, we start again with Patricia at Globant, because you work for so many players, including the big ones.
Yes, well, thank you. Well, it's an interesting question, right? Execution and innovation. I think that you need to put in place, everything. It's a 360 plan. Of course, I totally agree about that. We are these kind of companies because of the talent that we are growing inside our companies, and because what we are fostering and career path that we are trying to bring into the table to everyone that is inside our companies. And culture has to do about that, right? About the people that you have inside. So asking the correct questions at the correct time is also something. A couple of months ago, everyone was asking if we are going to go back to the offices. Well, we said some people say yes, some people say no, definitely no. Now, nobody knows, what we are going to do. So as some years ago, when we are talking about culture, you talk about the offices that you have that are very innovative, and the places where you go, you find your leaders, then you get to your clients, and then you execute in an environment that is with the culture that you want to foster. Now that is no longer exists, probably in many of the companies. Specifically in Globant, we have this open from working from anywhere policy that you have the autonomy to choose if you are going to the office or not. But what we are doing is trying to get the people in order to get the culture. So we are making different kind of events. I must confess that the most successful events that we are doing these days are the having fun events, and everybody is getting into the office because of that. But it has to do with a culture that today is asking for that. It's asking for which are the values of the company that you are bringing to the table, what kind of activities are you doing, what kind of career are you giving to me, the possibilities, the feedback for leaders, the feedback 360 that we are doing. That has to do with the culture of innovation and also of execution. Because, well, Globant is a public company, and we have, of course, the responsibility of giving to our investor and our holders, the results and what we all expect. So I think that on that execution, the last year, we have the Net Promoter Score, that is everybody knows, is the index of the quality of the delivery, and we have achieved the best number in the history. We are above any other industry, and that means the quality of what we are delivering. So what we can say is that if you have the correct framework, if you have still fostering the culture, if you are really taking care of the talent in terms of bringing them the opportunities and the correct space, the execution is going to come, and in better ways than any other years.
To be fair with you, when I hear that, I think that maybe this panel should be unlocking the power of people for mind-blowing execution. Because at the end of the day, we see, and maybe it's for you, Beatrice, when you're starting to recruit, you have a team of 8 people. Are you looking for innovative people, or are you looking for execution people?
Execution, 100%. Yes, you start with a vision. We are building the largest venue network in the world by transforming homes into concert venues. That's awesome. Largest venue in the network in the world. Homes are going to become concert spaces. If you don't do one home concert, the vision just dies there, right? So you have to execute. So we've done 240 concerts, more than 7,000 fans in attendance, all within people's homes. And you have to think, okay, we're executing on this vision. This is resonating with people because people are being able to connect in a different way, in a more lively way, in real time, intimate way. How do you scale this? And for that, you need to execute the platform, execute the marketplace, execute the matching capabilities. So I believe that we have enough strategy for Musicasa for now. We need people to come in and build this rocket ship so that we can expand to more cities and to the rest of the world. So yeah.
I totally buy you. When I look at what was my roadmap at the beginning of One Ragtime, I say, okay, but I have not done any innovation so far. Just execution, because at the end of the day, you set the vision at the beginning, the culture, the mission, the values, and then you have to make it happen. Maybe it's different when you're working for a company like yours, because from what I see, you're a large incumbent in this whole industry of insurance, not so whole, but at least. And here your challenge is that if you want to attract people, you have to sell them something. And maybe you have to sell them that, yes, they will be able to innovate in your company. And for you also, you're facing some competitors that are new startups. Are they really competitors? I don't know. But how do you see that, Anna?
So I believe it's not black or white, no? I believe, of course, for us, the part of the setting a mission, a purpose, a vision that it's innovative in the sector to attract the talent, or within our company to really have them engage, the employees engaged is maybe something that it's more visible than in a startup. But I think then, in the end of the day, you also need to ensure that you make it happen, no? And the execution is what will give you the real results. Ideas, well, there are crazy ideas, there are great ideas, there are very innovative ideas, but I guess we all have felt sometimes that, I also thought that I should do that, no? But really, who makes the difference in the world are the innovators that make it happen. No? So I, again, believe that execution, even for a corporate, it what makes the difference.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the figures. Huh?
And to feel that what you have been working on as a result, and satisfaction for who has been working on it.
Vision, execution. Maybe Roberto is working for the most innovative company in this panel, because you said that 20% of your revenue coming every 4 years from
products launched in the last.
From new product. So how do you create new product in a company which is 120 years old?
I mean, one thing you have to keep in mind is that any of these startups that we are here can disrupt your business, no matter how big it is. So you can disappear. That's a fact. That it's not a possibility. You can disappear in a few years. So you need this day one mindset. So the biggest illness out there for a company is not COVID, is self-complacency. So first, everything mindset. It starts with the right mindset. And this is something you live. This is not something you put on a PowerPoint chart and, oh, how cool it is. It's something you live in your daily interaction with the people you are in. That's one thing. Second, you need to find a balance between processes and creativity. So, because when you have a certain size, I mean, you cannot organize yourself in a way. I mean, we have more than 10,000 scientists in the company. So you need to coordinate. You need to make sure that you achieve certain objectives. For instance, we don't launch a product out there, and we launch around 5,000 every year, that doesn't address a sustainability issue, apart from the functional perspective. So this is something that either you have certain processes in place, you will not achieve this, or you also have to make sure that you resource the initiatives accordingly. Otherwise, you could have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't have the funding behind, it's going to be very difficult in a small company or in a big corporation. And shifting into creativity, and this is something we really feel proud of. I mean, you need to let people do their best.
Yeah.
As simple as this. And yes, but how do you achieve that in 3M? So many decades ago, so it's not months, years, it's decades ago, we launched this initiative that we call the 15% rule, meaning that all people working in R&D can spend 15% of their time at work running their own projects. So that's totally fine. So they pursue their interests, they pursue their aspirations, and many, I mean, Post-it is one of the examples back from the 80s, but we have many of recent products that have been launched driven by this 15% rule. So that's it.
So culture, some process, creativity, culture. So we have a few minutes left before the end of the panel. And I'd like all of us to reflect on the topic that we're facing every day. It's talent war. How do you make sure that you attract the best talents? And again, we start with Patricia. I mean, what is the secret sauce of Globant? You have tech, design, marketers within your teams. Everybody is looking for talents. I mean, it's very easy to look at Globant and say, okay, I want them. And on top of that, you're working for customers when you're working at Globant. You're not really working for Globant. You're working for Globant, but for customers who could be Apple, no?
Yes.
Google?
Yes.
So how do you
Apple,
attract and
Google,
retain
Facebook,
talents?
Twitter, yes. I mean, we have the clients that are really, also that, I mean, having the correct clients are also something that some people are looking for. We have the best brands, I mean, we want to work for. I mean, we have like Disney, Apple, as you mentioned, I mean, Twitter. We have different kind of those brands. We have other that has to do with the financial industry or verticals. We have all the industries. So that is something that is really appealing in order, okay, I want to work for an IT company, a professional services company, but I want to spend time in different kind of industry. So you have the chance in Globant to choose what kind of industry you want to work for and change your career path in the middle. That is something that is really appealing these days. Other thing has to do with the Globants everywhere, as I mentioned before. I mean, the possibility of working from wherever you are, I mean, it's not only on the offices. Probably if you are in some small town and you want to stay with your family, okay, we are there and we can work with them there. Also, I mean, those things are really very important these days. I mean, are things that everyone is looking. The other thing has to do with training, upskilling and reskilling. When you get into Globant, it's not that you end your career path. It's the starting point of something bigger that we want to build with you.
Yeah.
So in that point, we have the Globant University that today have more than 19,000 Globers inside doing upskilling and reskilling all the time inside the Globant University. And that means that they are training themselves for a different, or for a different technology, or for a different project, or because they want a different future. And that is something that, of course, as you mentioned, we want the people to do their best inside Globant. So those kind of things are really attractive for the millennials. But of course, I mean, the last couple of weeks we have been thinking in having a millennial board of directors. I mean, that is something we are launching that has to do with how we're going to talk to the people that we are hiring and how we're going to understand that culture. And that is something that I have 42 years old. I think probably I'm young. No, I mean, I'm not young anymore.
Don't worry, we're all.
I'm talking to the people that has 18, 19, 20. I need a different approach, a different marketing strategy, a different employee brand. So, okay, what we're going to do? Well, let's go and we have our board of directors that is phenomenal, but we have this one that is going to give us advice in terms of how to approach that culture. I think that keeping in that mood, understanding that the times are changing and the interest of the people are changing is something key at these days.
No, I do think that the story about Globant is pretty amazing, coming from Argentina and building one of the large outsourcing companies in the world that is attractive for people because of the company. We have a few minutes left, so maybe we do 3 advice. Each of you give 1 advice for the people in the audience on how to, I mean, what headline you would like us to retain. We start with you, Anna.
Okay. So, well, in that sense, for this topic of how to retain, that I think is key, and how to attract, I think, from my experience, three things, no? First is that you treat the employees as the human capital they are, the key asset of your company, and that implies having not only compensation or perks, but also, as you were mentioning, like a career path, flexibility, listening to their opinions. I think that's very important. Second, something that we mentioned as well is the purpose. I think it's very important on our day-to-day to give a purpose so that employees feel resonate with the company and they find a meaning in what they do. And the third one is to, I think, for innovation to be successful, to destigmatize failure. Yeah. So it's okay to experiment, it's okay to try new things, and that's the way you can unlock the power of people.
So 3 concrete advice. Beatrice? Huh? Miami, you had talent in Miami.
Hiring the right talent has been a challenging and learning experience for me, but I'll focus it on this. If you want to have innovation as part of the DNA of the company, you need to give total freedom to your team to be and create. If you don't give them freedom to fail, to show up, to bring ideas, to give them autonomy, they will not show up for you. So you have to trust as a leader that you're empowering them enough and you're giving them the right vision with the right strategy and resources and tools for them to be able to bring that innovation that you're looking for on a day-to-day basis.
Cool. So maybe Roberto, one advice and one announcement.
Okay, good. So Beatriz, you could work at 3M because this is what we do every day. And if I can say something, and this is what 3Mers share. So,
Are you trying to hire me?
you never know. You know, the doors are open for you. So, I mean,
This is the talent
embrace, I mean, and all of you said this, so, I mean, and please live this, because one thing is saying this and another one living every day. So embrace failure as a part of success. You mentioned that. So don't punish people for making mistakes. Mistakes mean that you're advancing. You have to be at the edge. So number one. Number two, you value what your network is. I mean, just connect with people. No matter how good you are, your network will make you shine. And the third thing, as you were saying before, so hire the best people and let them work. If you put fences around people, you get shit. So this is something easy to say again, but if you execute consistently every day, you build a highly innovative organization. And the announcement that we wanted to make is that we think that all together, all of us together, everybody at South Summit together can make a positive impact in the world. So we are launching a challenge, which is a 3M challenge, that if you just record a video and just for just a few seconds sharing your ideas to address one of the biggest challenges that we are facing in the world, you upload it in your social media profiles and you just add the hashtag 3M Reimagine What Is Possible. There's a great award that you can be part of. So join us in this journey. Thank you.
So you will fuel 3M next generation of innovation. So I guess we're at the end of the panel. So thanks to all. Thanks to our fantastic speakers. So Roberto, good experience with 4Women? Yes, please. It should be always the way like this. Bye. Thank you and happy to get some questions afterwards.